How do you feel the season's gone so far? It's been a bit of a mixture, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a frustrating start, I would say. I think if you look at our league position, it's probably a little bit disappointing and points to where we want to be. But I think if people would have watched us play in our games, I think we've played really well. We've created a lot of chances in games. We've not quite had the rub of the green on a few games, I would have said. I think all in all, we've performed really well. I think as a group, if you speak to anyone, we're playing with a lot of confidence at the moment, which you wouldn't think. Obviously, having 9 points from 9 games, you wouldn't think we'd be playing with confidence. But I think the way we've started the season, we've been really happy with our performances, and I think we just need to turn that into wins now.
Yeah, well, I mean, what were the expectations going into the season?
I think it's difficult because if you look at the league we're playing in, it's obviously a really tough league. You've got a lot of big clubs spending big money in the division. Obviously, as a squad, we want to try and finish higher than we did last year. I think we finished 13th last year with a disappointing season. So ideally, we want to finish in the top half and to go whatever we can from there. But yeah, I think we need to, like you say, continue to do what we did last year, push on from that. And yeah, just continue to, I think if we continue to play the way we're playing, I think we'll only climb the table. And I think that's what the manager's been saying to us, which is the main thing to do, is to keep believing in the way we're playing and to keep going from there.
I mean, you've been here, 5 years now? There's been some highs and lows. Obviously, you almost got in the playoffs. I was at that game, that Blackburn game. How gutting was that? What's it like having the gaffer back? I mean, obviously, there was the experiment Joe, didn't quite work out. Yeah. What's it like having him back? Do you feel there's more of an identity now?
I think, I've said before, I think having Neil back, he kind of is Millwall Football Club. I think if you ask anyone about Millwall, the first person you think of is Neil Harris. So when he obviously came back into the football club, he really lifted everyone. He really galvanised the whole football club and everyone behind the scenes and all the players. And he came back in and we had a really good run. Obviously now we've had a good pre-season under him as well. We've really enjoyed working under him, and like you say, we've got a real identity of how he wants to play moving forward. We've got a mix of good senior players and some really good young players as well. So I think it's only exciting times for the football club.
What's he like around the place? What's he like as a man manager and just as a bloke?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak highly enough as for someone in football. His man management skills are better than anyone I've ever seen, to be honest. Around the football club, he's a breath of fresh air. Walking around the training ground, he says hello to everyone. He shakes everyone's hand. As a person, obviously as my manager and as a person, I probably can't speak highly enough of him.
Yeah, because of course you were played under him the first time, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I played with him when he was at Southend. So when I was at Southend like 10 years ago, he was coming to the end of his career, but I played with him for 2 years. And then he obviously signed me here, I think 5 or 6 years ago when I first came here. So yeah, I've kind of got a good relationship with him in terms of that, which is obviously nice. And like you say, I think he seems to have a good relationship with every single player in the building and everybody behind the scenes. You
say you played with him at Southend. What was that like? And and also, how did you then adapt to him being your manager? Yeah,
it's always strange at first. Obviously, you have a bit of banter as players, and then obviously once you get someone that's your boss kind of thing. But no, we've kind of taken to it and just got on with the job. Really, it's one of those things that you're both professional and you kind of used to playing with each other back then, and you come into the football club and he's kind of your boss and telling you what to do. So I mean, I've got a lot of respect for him as a person and as a manager. So it's worked out perfectly.
Now, we're early in the season. Really, the table is a form table right now, isn't it? But that was a good result at West Brom, wasn't it? I mean, I think they're going to be there or thereabouts. So to get a draw there, that must have given you a bit of confidence going into that international break.
Yeah, certainly. It was a tough game. We kind of went there and we kind of knew we had to be resolute. If you look at their team and you look at the players they've signed in the summer, they've obviously given it a right go. And like you say, you'd have thought they'd be up there in the top 6. I'd have thought. It was a good point for us on the road. We had a couple of chances as well where we could have nicked something at the end, but I think all in all we come away from that game with a clean sheet away at the Hawthorns. I don't think many teams will do that, so it was a resolute squad performance, I would say, and it worked well.
We mentioned earlier the near misses with the playoffs. Do you feel the club? I mean, it's such an even division, isn't it? Once you take out those top sides with the parachute payments, do you feel this club can progress back to that sort of level again?
I certainly think they can. It's a football club that is always worked well as an underdog, and I think they can continue to do that. And like you say, you've got teams in the league that are spending millions and millions of pounds, and we're not obviously able to do that as much. But it's been a journey in a club that I've really enjoyed playing for. And like you say, I think they can continue to keep progressing. As I've said, we've got a good mixture of squad players, like older players, and we've got some really good young players coming up through the squad. So if we can mesh all it together and continue to do what we've done the first first 9 games while getting the wins as well. I think it's something we can do.
I think it's fair to call you a veteran now, isn't it?
I know, it's a shame, isn't it? A bit of a swear word, isn't it?
but so, I mean, you know, how do you feel your own game is, and do you feel like you're at the peak of your powers now?
Yeah, you know what? It's weird. Obviously, I'm getting older, but I feel like I'm kind of getting better as well in a weird way. Obviously, I'm 32 now, but I've really enjoyed the last couple of years, especially. I've kind of moved from playing into midfield to playing at fullback, and it's something that I've kind of really enjoyed. I've kind of not learned a new trade, but kind of just getting used to new positions. I'm still learning at 32 in a new position, so I'm really enjoying the matchups. Obviously, a lot of wingers in this league are really tough, so I've really enjoyed that and going 1v1 with defenders and yeah, just learning a new position. It's weird. It's been 14 years of professional, but I'm still kind of learning every game, which is fun.
What's been the most difficult players to handle so far?
So far, it's been a tough one. We had who did we have? Stefan Mavadidi was hard last year for Leicester. Obviously, those boys at the top of the league were really tough. West Brom was tough. I think we had about 4 different wingers at one point, switching over, coming on. The boy Tom Fellows for West Brom is a top player, to be fair. He played on both sides last week and he was really dangerous. We kind of, as fullbacks, we try and kind of watch the clips before the game, so to look at the players and to see what they're kind of good at and what they do. And yeah, by the looks of it, he's going to have a great career.
Can I ask you how your move to fullback came about? When was there a discussion? When was it? Roughly?
No, I was playing in centre midfield, and then under Gary Rowett, we went to a back 5. So I kind of played right of a back 3. I'm probably not an out and out centre defender. So it kind of, when Neil came in and he said he wants to play a back 4, kind of the natural progression was to move into fullback. And I'm still quite quick, still quite strong. So it kind of worked out quite well, where I can kind of enjoy playing at fullback, where the game's in front of you, so it's a little bit different to playing midfield in terms of that. But yeah, it's a fun position. It's something that I've really kind of got on board with and kind of tried to look at and look behind the scenes and look at different ways to play it.
And prolonging your career as well.
Well, fingers crossed, that's the main thing. The longer I can play there, the better.
Derby County at the weekend, obviously newly promoted, big club. Yeah, it should be a good game, that one.
Yeah, it will be a good game. They've had a decent start to the season as well. Like you say, it's a big football club, and it's a division that they probably should have been in the last few years. So it's going to be another good game. I'm sure our fans will turn out in force, as they always do at home. And we need to continue to make the Den a tough place to play. We've got 2 big games there the next 4 days, so it's going to be an interesting week.